A pivot is not a setback, it's a power move. People think of pivoting, they think like a oh shoot moment, a missed opportunity. And it allows you to take charge in a way that you probably never thought you could.
And we're back.
Yes.
Never too shy.
We have a special guest today.
There's a cat.
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo's in the middle of us.
Like, she is a representation of power.
She is.
What kind of power?
She's giving.
She's
kind
just
of power?
giving power. Anybody who knows this is a cat, you could just guess the
Cardi
kind of
B
power.
power.
Oh,
Power.
I love Cardi B and her power right
Do
now.
you
Oh
really?
my God, that's
we
a
talk
whole
about that?
topic.
Bro.
That's a pivot.
That's crazy.
That word. That's a pivot.
That's a pivot. We're
That's a
talking
pivot.
pivots today.
We're talking pivots today.
And
Oh my
Cardi B.
God.
And not just the friend pivots, like, you know, the episode pivot.
Oh, friends.
Yeah,
like
not
friends.
just that. Yeah, not, yeah. Okay,
Me and Paulina were like, what the
didn't.
fuck?
Yeah, it took me a
I thought
second.
it would. I'm so
That's
sorry.
some WPS,
I'll
bro.
try
my
this
God.
again.
Well,
But anyway, pivots.
We'll dive into it. We're going to talk all types of pivots, and we're going
Yes.
to, discuss a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Cardi Yardi.
And Cardi B, she'll make the appearance in our pivot conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, say it with your chest.
We gonna say it with our chest. Am I saying it with my chest first?
I guess, unless
Okay.
you want me to go first.
No, you go first.
Me? Okay. My say it with your chest is, and this goes to me too, is not everything needs to be on social media. Stop it. Stop
True
it.
story.
Stop it.
True story.
And I don't just mean like I'm gonna flex my new car. Like, no, that's annoying too, but sometimes. But I feel like I don't know if there's a surplus of just skits out there. I don't know if you guys have realized that. Not every conversation has to be recorded and then posted. And I don't mean like, okay, you're exposing somebody, right? Because they were being like, you know, they treated you poorly or like they're being like homophobic or racist. I'm not saying that because I'm all for calling people out in that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you and I were having a conversation in private, why am I recording it and posting it?
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. I don't know if people are looking for sympathy, and they might be, or community of like, you're not alone, and I'm all for community, but I don't know. I just felt like I saw this one video, and that's why I'm saying, is it a skit? But there's one video that I saw of a husband and wife, and she's like recording them, and she's crying, and she's
I have the ick with like recording yourself
With
crying.
influencers?
No, just recording yourself crying and posting it.
like you're literally crying.
Like unless it's like something great happened.
No.
But anyway, that's
My first thought is never to pick up my phone and record myself crying.
who
That
thinks
never
that?
even crossed my mind.
like hold on. Like, but girl, boy, what?
It just gives weird, I don't know, to me.
It's cringy.
It is cringy. But this couple was like arguing about it's a skit or I don't know what it is, but they were arguing about Christmas Day, and he wants to go with his boys to a football game or watch a football game, and she's like, but it's Christmas Day. Like, you're telling me, she's recording, it's like, you're telling me, and they're sitting like this, across from each other, that you would go with your friends, and she's like crying, and he's just like, basically saying like, you know, that's really selfish of you to think like that, wife. And I'm just like, is this a skit? Like, are we
that's
just
embarrassing? I would
never
never
post
skit
that.
because we're talking about it, right?
Exactly.
Like that's
Maybe,
why people
yeah.
post those things so people could talk about it and it gives them attention.
I think people just do this. I think they tell their husbands or their friends to go along with their little skits. I really do. Because if you're posting that, either there's something wrong with you, like legit, or you just don't understand that not everything has to be shared or posted. I don't get it. I saw a comment. It was the best comment I saw. Someone just goes, I miss secrets. Like, I just miss secrets.
Yo, I love secrets.
I love a good secret.
Victoria's my favorite, but I love secrets.
I love a secret.
It's because you hold so much power with a secret. And then that's really where trust plays a big role. Because if I tell you and I only told you and that secret gets out, I know exactly who the source is.
Damn.
I love secrets.
I love
too.
that game. It's a fun game.
It's a power move.
It is.
I love it so much.
You got to say it with your chest.
Yes. So my say it with your chest kind of relates to, it is about pivoting, but it's also about regaining power. I think when people think of pivoting, they think like a oh shoot moment, a missed opportunity, or like, you know, woe is me. But I feel like a pivot is not a setback, it's a power move.
Okay.
Because it builds character and it allows you to take charge in a way that you probably never thought you could. So I say embrace the pivots.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk all about pivoting too, because
Yeah.
that could apply in different parts of life.
Yeah, you could pivot financially. You could pivot in your career. You could pivot in a relationship. You could pivot in your own like self-love journey or mental health journey. Like pivoting could happen at any point.
I agree.
I mean, Marco, do you understand what pivoting is? Since you're like our Webster dictionary, can you tell the people what it means? Or when we say you could pivot, can you break down what pivoting means for our lovely viewers and listeners while I rub Miss Cleo?
Well, in the definition of like life circumstances, obviously
Yes.
pivoting is just like making a major life changing decision. So like a pivot that I've done in my life is like I pivoted from being what I would call a selfish person in my early 20s to pivoting to now being more of a family focused person. But people pivot all the time. Like I have no people who pivoted careers. People have been one career for like 30 years, then one day decide, you know what, I'm going to pivot to this. I know people have pivot relationships. I have people who are close to me who have pivoted from being, you know, a certain, being heterosexual to, now part of the LGBTQ community or vice versa. Like there's always pivots in people's lives. And I feel like that just has to be with the fact that you aren't defined by what you are now. You're more defined by where you're going tomorrow. And it's kind of like, your decision to pivot doesn't mean. But Webster's says that pivoting is.
Yes, Webster.
Webster, can you sponsor us?
Right? We might need that.
Can we
love
get
it.
sponsored, Webster's? It says complex changes in the way you choose or change your life. So,
See, okay, that's good to know because that kind of, I don't want to say goes against what I always thought of pivoting as, but I always interpreted pivoting as something drastic or something happens that kind of forces you to have to change. But based on the definition, I guess nothing drastic really needs to happen to force that. You just change.
You just change, yeah.
Huh.
So did you change? I know you went through a recent change in your life.
I've been through quite a few changes, actually.
And
but
then Paulina's been through a change also.
she's been through major changes.
Major changes.
Like
as well.
life.
I am the change queen.
You are the
But I'm
change
also not
queen.
afraid to do that. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to pivot or they are afraid of change. And I just, I really welcome it with open arms. I'm not saying it's not scary, but I still try to embrace it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's scary because it's unknown, right? Like you're taking a leap of faith to move on to something else in your life.
For sure.
Yeah, depending on what that pivot is.
Yeah. And that's what's scary because, again, when I think about how I first interpreted pivoting, it's like something happens and you just have to make the change and there's not really this prep time for it. Like you weren't prepared for it and you just kind of have to like make moves. So for me, that's why I think like pivoting could be super scary because it's like, what if you've had this like great plan of action of what, I don't know, like, I'll just say a business plan, right? I don't have this, but this is just an example. Like maybe you have this great business plan and you have a business partner and an investor, and then right before you make the moves, an investor pulls out. Then you have to pivot, right? And what does that pivoting look like? Like how do you, and I think this is important and maybe you guys could answer this. When you've had a pivot in life, like how do you handle those changes like emotionally? How do you deal with pivots emotionally?
Well, I think for me, I kind of don't because like I just don't let my emotions get with it because pivots have to do also with like it's typically putting out a fire, right? Or like fixing a situation, whatever it is. But if you're deciding to pivot in your life, I'm the type of person where like once you make that decision, like that's what it is. Like there's no point in reflecting back why you made that decision, how you got to the decision, what caused it, what could have been, what is, what isn't, what isn't, or what is not. For me, it's just like move forward, emotions aside, cold hearted.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been me with a lot of things, and because I'm not an empath. But Queen Empath here probably has a different answer to this question.
You're asking how do I deal with it emotionally?
Yeah. Anytime you've had a pivot.
A good cry.
Oh, I love crying. You guys, I cry every. I almost want to
She
say
has
like
them scheduled.
I do like 2 to 3 business days. Like I will have a good cry, but I cry for anything, you guys. Like it's not hard to make me cry. I think like dealing with pivoting. I think for me, I don't know. I just kind of have to like lean into it the best that I can because I'm learning as an adult. Like there's just shit out of your control. I'm also learning that there's just no time to like emotionally invest in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you know something's coming or something's gonna happen, you know, like it happens. For me too, like I'm trying to think as far as like my personal pivots, like I don't know if I've really had any career ones. Like I've kind of always just done, I mean, I haven't always done radio. Like I've done other jobs up until radio. But I think coming with the radio territory opened up opportunities for me. So like I got to like, you know, do podcasting and stuff like that and just like cool shit. But as far as like pivoting, I mean, with this podcast, we pivoted. Like we did. We completely rebranded, you know. We were making it something a little bit different than what it was originally on day one. Yeah. But we leaned into it. I mean,
we embraced the pivot.
You have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would be your pivots, would you say?
I have a few. Actually, one that kind of, this was a full circle moment for me yesterday was, for a while, so I'm on my last year of my PhD. And so when I thought about this moment years ago, like taking my classes of what I want my dissertation to be on, my study to be on, I had in my head the person that I wanted to be the subject of my study because of their work with teens and after school programs.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I was like, I want this person I worked with closely. You know, at some point I saw this person as a friend. And so for a long time that was like, oh, easy. I'm going to work with this person and I'm going to, you know, use their program as my study site. And I was really excited about that because I know this person is very much passionate about what they do. And unfortunately, you know, this is why they say don't mix business and pleasure.
For sure.
That person and I are no longer, I don't want to say in good standing. It's just I wish that person well, but we're just not close. We don't have any relationship. Okay. And so I had to immediately pivot my whole dissertation study. And I had to think what new site, new approvals, new paperwork, new everything.
Right.
And so I did that, and it was full circle for me because yesterday I officially got the yes from my new study subject. And it's so beautiful. I can't say too much, but I am still working with an after school program. Wow. I had everything set on this other person, and then that pivot needed to happen for me to get to experience something I think more meaningful in a personal way to me, because I'm very excited about that. And I think when you think about pivots, as scary as it is, I look at it as a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
It's maybe God is protecting you from something, or something's not right for you at that moment. Not yet, maybe, but there's something better. So I always think, like, if there's a pivot, don't freak out, embrace it. Work hard still, but something better is going to come out of that pivot. That's how I like to think about pivots based on that experience.
Nice.
Not mad at that. What about you, producer Marco?
About pivots?
Yeah, like have you had one, or what would you recall as your latest?
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest pivot is when I failed out of college. So like I went to a 4-year school, 4 university. Freshman year, I basically got a 0.69 GPA, which means you have to get...
That's a fun one.
Yeah. You have to get 3 Ds and 2 Fs. So that was cool.
Oh my God.
And I did that for 2 semesters. And it pivoted my life and it changed my life because I was kind of like an entitled brat. I was, tall, handsome, with money. So I went out every night. I went to...
That's all handsome with money. I love it.
Tall, handsome with money.
Yeah, that's my title of my book. Title of my new book.
Now I'm tall, handsome, and broke. So don't come.
It'd be like that.
And married.
But
and a father.
Stay away. And a dad. Correct.
Yes.
So pivoting from being basically like just like a fuckboy to refocusing my life and being okay, I'm not going to let this failure define me. I'm going to let it fuel me for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So that pivot, in my opinion, or that change, was the biggest thing in my life, and it was the best thing to happen because that's what made me who I am today. If not, I don't know where I would be. I mean, maybe if I didn't fail out, maybe if I barely got by, I'd be a different person. But I think it definitely helped me a lot, and it definitely changed my career path completely. Because before I never wanted to be an entrepreneur or work for myself or do anything like that. I actually wanted to be an attorney.
I remember that. Yeah.
see
My idea
that.
was to go to be pre-law, go to law school, do all that. And so people always say like, oh, you were going to be an attorney. Like, yeah, I was like, now I hire them. So that's the difference.
know.
So, but that was the biggest pivot in my life.
Do you feel, I think I might ask you this before, maybe I'm having deja vu.
Deja vu.
Probably. Do you feel like your pivot also reflected like your upbringing and like what your parents, if they expected anything from you? Because your parents, like obviously like kind of started a lot of that like entrepreneurship, right? Like the road, I would say, or like the blueprint, if you will. Because you saw them as entrepreneurs. You both are, correct?
Yeah.
So did you feel like maybe like, because you're like, okay, law school, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then obviously like all that happened with college. But my point being too, when you make that pivot where you like, okay, like I'm going to lean into like what I know via my family. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of. I mean, really what happened was I hated like business and entrepreneurship like growing up because the business took away my family, like took away my parents from me.
Correct.
And so like I wouldn't see them. So the last thing I wanted to do was to get into business.
Okay, I can see that.
And so when I went down this path and I had to pivot my life and change it, my first thought wasn't to go back, wasn't to go to business. Even then, it was I went to college at DuPage. So for everyone who doesn't know, college at DuPage is like a community college here in Illinois. And I literally didn't talk to a single soul. Like I didn't talk to anyone. I went back there. I did all my credits. I got straight A's. I hated it with all my being, but I did it to go back into my university. And so when I got back into my university, at that point is when my life changed and I started getting more into business and I started liking business and doing that kind of stuff. And that's when I kind of changed and went down that road. But it was because I had those, like you said, natural tendencies in me. But my life wasn't meant to be that at all, like at least by my choice. I was always like, I hate it. I'm not going to be part of it. Like whatever it is, keep me away from it. It's not cool. But once I started getting into it, once I started knowing that it was in me, and inherently, it was pretty easy to do that. And yeah, that's my biggest pivot.
That is interesting because I've heard of, I like know somebody whose father was in radio. They are, what's that word I'm looking for?
Legacies.
No.
Nepo
Prodigy?
babies.
No, when you're like, you don't speak to that person.
Estranged.
Thank you.
Estranged.
I almost said distinct. That's not even a word for this.
Distinguished gentlemen.
They are estranged. But,
Socialites.
Right? There's socialites.
I just want to say the word.
I mean, I love that word.
I love that word.
You guys are
telling-
going ham for 2 weeks.
We're what?
You're going ham for 2 weeks on socialites.
So Marco, I asked him one time, I was like, what?
We're pivoting from
We're
the
pivoting
conversation.
literally. We're doing it right now. We asked Marco one time, we're like, hey, well, I think I asked him, I was like, what
About
does
a
your sister
person,
do?
yeah.
Right? Or actually a person. And I was like, what does this person do? Because I see her often and I was just like, oh, what does she do? And like, I'm just nosy, or not nosy, but I'm just curious. And
Nah, you nosy as fuck, though.
oh, I'm super nosy. But it's like, I'm nosy and don't do anything with information. Like, I just like want to know. And then I
want to
move
know
on.
to know.
And then I move on. Then I
Yeah.
go cook chicken or something, you know? Like, I don't do anything with it. I'm so boring. But I did ask you about a person, and you told me what she does. And then you went on and told us all her, like, accomplishments and her stuff. And then you go, and she's a socialite. And that took me out.
Yeah, we want to be social.
I want someone... If someone ever calls me a
To
socialite,
refer to you as a socialite?
I am retiring.
I'm a
You will
socialite.
never see me again.
You got to be in the streets to be a socialite.
No, I want to, like, when I think socialite, I think like
I could do
Paris
it.
Hilton, like
Sign me up.
2005.
With an
So
assistant, like, she kind of has an assistant, too. Like, a personal assistant.
I need an assistant. I really do.
if I had an assistant, it'd be over. Fucking game over. Like, my friend Jonathan's always like, you need help. And I was like, I do. But I'm so scrambled that the assistant wouldn't know what to do either,
Yeah.
if we're being honest.
That's true. And I'm also like a control freak
Yes,
too.
yes.
So I will do everything. And then when it's time for them to do it, I'll be like,
It's done.
Get out my
oh
way.
God. Because if you're like, if
Let
you
me do
want
it.
something done
You
right,
got to do it yourself.
you got to do it yourself sometimes.
Damn, that's your
That's
mom talking right
real though.
That is my mom.
That's your mom
That's
right
1,000. Hello, Dixie. I'm pivoting into you. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why I thought about this, but shout out to AJ. I haven't gave AJ.
We
a shout
haven't
out.
shouted
We
AJ.
haven't shouted out AJ in like 3 episodes. I
Poor
said
AJ.
Dixie and then I thought of AJ. So I'm pivoting from Dixie to AJ.
I love it. Shout out to AJ.
Poor
Yeah.
AJ.
We love AJ.
But what were we talking about before you got
We're talking
into?
about radio prodigies. Or
Oh
no,
yeah,
Oh,
you were
legacies.
talking about the guy with his son.
Yeah,
the son doesn't
so-
talk to him anymore.
Yeah, they're estranged for years, but point is, his father was a very successful radio personality. I don't know much of him. He's older, like a lot older. So I was like, I don't really know. And today he's a very, good radio personality. He's very known. So I'm just like, that's crazy that like your father was this big radio person. Like I didn't know until the story was shared. And then now he is also a well-known radio personality. So the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree for some people.
Yeah. I mean, you can be, I don't know. There's a lot.
Can't escape the life.
Can't escape the life, the personalities.
A lot of my family are educators. My grandma.
That's true.
My cousin, my other cousin. Like, I have a family of educators. My mom, like.
Wait, that's kind of cool. I have nothing in my family with media. Like, I can't name one person.
Are you got any yappers in your family?
And my mom yaps.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Man, Marta needs a show. Can we bring? Can Marta come on the podcast? I would love Marta
she would
on the
kill
podcast.
It. I need to have her.
She would kill
on.
it. I love her.
We gotta have her. We'll have her.
Love
Add
her.
her
Oh
to
my
our list.
God, we need to add her.
We will
for sure.
No, she'll be so good.
Oh my God, can we have both moms?
Your mom's a yapper too.
Yes, she's a yapper. But
Her whole family's a yapper.
Your mom and my mom are so similar where they're so blunt.
So blunt.
Like they're gonna just say it.
It's like
there's
scary.
no like vibe check. There's no reading the room. There's just I'm reading my mind and my mind's telling me to say this and I'm gonna say it.
Yes.
I love that. They are great.
Yeah, no, those two are yappers, and that's
I love
where we
them.
get it from.
Yeah, clearly. Or what if we just didn't show up one day and
just
my
put them
mom
in the
was here
seats?
and your mom was here?
Wait, that'd be hilarious.
That would be kind
Wait,
of
that's
hilarious.
so
Freaky
funny.
Friday.
That's
It'll
a
be
good
a
freaky
Friday episode. Marco would just have to produce them.
That would be.
They won't listen to Marco.
No,
They won't
They're-
listen to you. You'd be in for.
No,
a
you
treat,
both your
though.
moms like me, so.
No,
My
yeah,
mom
but that doesn't
loves
mean
you.
my
Really?
mom too, but that doesn't mean she's gonna listen.
My
to
mom
you.
doesn't love.
She
people.
loves me, but she won't listen
I know.
sometimes.
No, my mom like is so funny because
Yeah.
I mean she like loves everybody, but like you know when she really likes somebody.
Yeah,
And
for
my
sure.
mom, I forgot like what she was talking about you or something, and she goes, "I love my Marco." And I was like, and then he calls her Senora. It's just like it's a funny
that is
exchange.
cute.
It's the funniest exchange in the world.
Good. See?
Yeah. No, yeah, my mom likes you.
Moms love me.
Yeah.
Moms love me. Not
Love
moms
that
love
for
me.
you.
Moms and lesbians. Those are my list of people who love me.
Okay. I
so
think
funny.
speaking about love, right?
Love.
I think a big portion of pivoting that we haven't talked about. So we talked about pivoting as far as like career or like PhD, education, money, family, and then I think like just the love aspect. Sometimes you have to pivot on people you love or people you have feelings for or people that are not good for you anymore. And pivoting could be knowing that I have feelings, I care about somebody, but this is not good for my well-being right now and I need to choose myself. And that pivoting is putting up boundaries, like we love talking about boundaries.
Boundaries.
And it's just prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your space to just cleanse yourself of whatever you need to do. Pivoting could be just muting somebody on Instagram or
My best friend likes to do that.
Or-
he's got
yeah.
certain people muted, and I'm like,
out of sight, out of mind.
but I like want to know why. I think it's so funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But
No,
you're
no,
right,
no.
though. You're
That's a
right.
good point, though.
Muting people is a
It could
form
be
of self-care. It
could
can be,
right.
I just think it's
Some
really
people
funny.
block people, right? Like
I guess.
I'm not that person, but
Yeah.
I'll mute somebody before I block them because like then I can still be nosy when I'm like get the itch, like I
But
relapse.
muting is so funny to me. I
No,
get it. I
it
get
is funny, and I agree. Like this is not something I do often, but sometimes you just have to do that for your own sanity. For
I
that,
can see that.
Like, is this idea that like, oh my God, like I don't know why I'm comparing it to this, but whatever. Like I love tequila, and I just want to drink tequila, but too much tequila is not good for you. And if you keep a bottle of tequila right in your sight,
Like me.
you're gonna want the tequila. But if you have no tequila in your house,
Out of sight, out of mind.
out of sight, out of mind. So I think that's like part of pivoting, just understanding that sometimes people no longer need to be in your space or in your life for a while. It doesn't have to be forever, but maybe you're going through something and you're trying to focus and you know you can't focus with them. You need to pivot your energy and who you spend time with and what that looks like. That could be a
Yeah.
pivot as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Pivoting in relationships, just in general, are big. Somebody could just be like, oh, hot girl summer, I want to be single. And then maybe they meet the love of their life and they're like, never mind. I'm getting
They
married.
could.
Not me.
Shout out to
But
Tati.
I feel
Right.
like
She
almost
said
the
not
opposite
me.
happened to me. Ooh.
Ooh.
Pivot. No, but like I feel like I think that's an area I'm always pivoting, and I've been very vocal and vulnerable about it. I'm pivoting between like, is right now a good time for me to be exclusively dating one person, and just seeing where it goes? Or I'm so tied up with so many things that are higher on my priority list. Do I just have fun?
That's a good question.
And sometimes you got to pivot.
Yeah. Always got to pivot.
Pivot.
Pivot. Say pivot one more time.
Pivot.
Pivot.
And we're talking a little bit too about a celebrity, like a hot story right now, and that's Cardi B, which in my opinion was a long time coming.
Yeah.
This wasn't
Cardi,
new to
Artie,
me.
Artie.
Cardi. Everyone knows that I ride and die for Cardi. Like,
Yeah.
I ride and die for her.
It's her third pregnancy.
She is amazing. She's
Crazy.
hilarious. She's crazy.
Yeah.
So she just had her third baby.
Yes. She just had her third
I
baby.
think she kept this pregnancy the most secret, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a complete secret.
She announced it maybe a month before she
was
gave
due.
birth.
She announced
Yeah.
the divorce and the pregnancy same day.
Same day, but that's so Cardi.
Literally,
That's
but
so
that's
Cardi.
like pivot right there, right? It's
Well, yeah,
like,
she thought she had like a little family, unit going on, or
Yeah.
at least what she wanted. But I think that whole situation is so messy, and it's so interesting because you guys know that I love calling people out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Like when people go low, I take it to hell.
Yes, you do.
So I feel that when it comes to Cardi B, they can never make me hate you, Cardi.
She took it to hell.
She took it to hell.
Should we talk about that right now?
Yes,
She
I
burned
want
the
to-
I think,
bridge.
could we take it to tricky or trifling?
We can.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, welcome to the second. Is this second segment?
Second
This is your
segment.
baby.
Of tricky or trifling.
Tricking or trifling.
So a little context, like what Paulina said. Cardi has been known to stay with her husband who has cheated on her multiple times.
First of all, they're not married.
I thought they
Yeah.
were legally married.
No,
I think
they're
they were
legally. Yes,
married.
they are. No, they're legally married.
For
How do you
real?
divorce
They're-
someone you're not married
Yeah.
to?
I thought they oh, you're right. They're divorced,
No,
right?
They are married.
Yeah.
Because
I don't
you-
know.
Because he kept on saying
she
baby
filed
mama.
for divorce.
He just says
No,
that.
he just says that.
okay.
But
They're
anyway,
literally married, yeah.
they're very much married, and during the marriage, he cheated on her multiple times.
And some of it was known, some of it wasn't, but a lot of it was known.
Correct, right? And so now we are faced with Cardi coming forward after her husband, or soon to be ex-husband, Offset, saying, that's his name, right? Offset, saying
So irrelevant.
she cheated on me while she was pregnant. And she said, and did. She basically confirmed it publicly to the world, saying, yeah, I got my lick back. I sure did cheat on you while I was pregnant. So viewers,
Is that a lick back though?
that's a conversation we could have right now. Let me ask
I'm
the
just
viewers.
saying.
Yeah, ask the viewers.
Viewers, you, all of you. Is Cardi tricky? Is this a tricky situation? Announcing that you got your lick back to a man that cheated on you multiple times? Or is it just straight trifling that you're publicly posting that you got your lick back and cheated on him?
Is there a third option? Can it be messy?
No, there's no third option.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was like,
Pivot.
I just wish, I'm not crazy about this because of the fact that she was pregnant.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's the reason I'm not crazy about it, because the only person or people this is hurting is their kids.
Yeah, that's crazy.
100%.
So
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it. Now, had she given birth, waited her 6 weeks, got her little checkups, checked her stitches, all of that, then cheated back, I would have been very proud of my girl.
So you support the lick back?
100%. This man is a clown, the clowniest of the clowns, but she should have done this a long time ago. I also feel she should have left a long time ago. That's my hot take. She's
Yes.
Cardi fucking
Agreed.
B.
Agreed.
She's here. I don't care what you guys think. But
She got a whole wop.
Look at their numbers. Check money. Look at their bank accounts.
Yeah.
Look at her streams versus his streams.
Yeah.
If you're gonna really compare, like Cardi is up here. So do I feel like she should have just left the marriage and done
Yes.
like a boss move? Yes. But I think Cardi is a fairy tale kind of girl. She wants a marriage. A lot of females are like this. They want the marriage. They want I think, honestly, even though she's Cardi B, I think she wanted the picture perfect, this is my family.
And I also think they're both toxic, that they
They're both
kind
toxic.
of arouses them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It turns them on or something, some
Yeah.
weird shit with that.
It's weird.
Because he's been cheating and she ends up pregnant. Like, girl, like that,
Girl.
like you
Yeah,
still
like
mess
if
with
she
him.
if she would have announced a divorce and pregnancy from a different person, then I would have been like, that's more of a lick back than the fact that you admitted that you had
A baby
that
on
you
him
cheated
with somebody else.
with someone while you were pregnant with his kid.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that.
Yeah.
There's. I don't think I think we all agree. There's
No, the
nothing
pregnancy
there.
part is what makes it just, like you said, really trifling.
Really trifling.
That's what makes it trifling.
Yeah, I wish that like she would have waited till after or even before the kid. She's
I
like,
just
yeah,
don't think you
cheated
should
on
like
Then
have
okay.
admitted that, because like imagine like
How the
Yes.
your
kids
kid
gonna-
like in
Yes.
16 years is gonna Google Cardi B and it's gonna be like,
Yeah, I agree. So this is where like I agree with Paulina, but then to a certain extent, I'm all for the lick back. However, I feel like a lick back is so much more powerful when you don't say nothing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't publicize my lick back.
I get what you're saying.
I would want to look like the bigger person,
Yeah.
knowing damn well I ain't shit.
I'm also talking shit. Like I would never quote cheat back. My lick back would be that I'm gonna serve you divorce papers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight for custody of my kids. And I'm probably gonna clean you out a little bit, even though she don't need the money.
Oh,
I hope she can clean him
I'm
out a little
cleaning.
bit.
I'm
If you cheat on
cleaning
me
the house,
and just
cleaning
try to destroy my
all the
family
money.
and my fucking self-worth, because that is a form of destroying somebody, is
Correct.
cheating on them. And
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, no matter how thug Cardi is, she probably still cried at night. She probably still felt hurt. She might be
Yeah,
in therapy.
absolutely.
That fucks people up.
she's a person.
No matter
She's a
who you
human.
are, yeah, that's not a good feeling.
No, it's not a good feeling. So I know she didn't feel good after that. So yeah, I'm cleaning you out as much as I can.
What do you think about the fact that he's like, well, you're my baby mama, so I won at the end of the day?
That solidified everything I need to know about him. And truthfully, a lot of men.
Yeah.
A lot of men think like that. I'm sorry, they do. A lot of men do. I'm not saying all men, because on the radio today at work, I said something about all men, or I said men, and people assumed I meant all men, aka all fathers. So I got dragged to hell for 5 minutes. But
Welcome
no,
to the
we'll get into that another day. But
Yeah.
I basically am saying right now that I do think a lot of men think like that if they're not shit. Like the no shit men.
Yeah, it's that territorial.
Think like what though? What are they
Like,
thinking?
yeah, you still my baby mama though. I got that.
No,
first, or,
exactly. Or the
like,
I won shit.
I won.
He solidified everything that I ever thought about him, is that he's not shit. He's with a successful woman. All these men want a successful, beautiful,
All these
baddie.
damn kids.
And they want to fucking destroy her. A lot of, not all men, toxic, insecure, pieces of shit men will destroy a woman.
If if the woman doesn't pivot, she allows herself to get destroyed
I agree.
if they don't pivot.
I agree. And Cardi, I think for the most part, as much as he tried to destroy her from what we're seeing and what we're hearing, I still think that she kind of persevered through it, to be honest.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
her
she's
career didn't
owning
die.
it. So the thing is, I think she's owning it. That's the difference.
And I love people who own shit. You know how I
Yeah.
feel about that. You can
You
never,
gotta own
that's
it.
why I always say, you can never gotcha me because I'm living my truth.
Yeah, same.
And she does that. And I love
agree.
when women do that shit. You're never going to gotcha. Like, there's no
Yeah.
gotcha. Like, I'm telling you
It at face
everything.
value. You got it. It's right
100%.
here. I'll tell you before you tell me.
But I do think, unfortunately, the toxic men, the pieces of shit men, and if this applies to you and you're feeling some kind of way, then you should really check yourself.
You should pivot to a mirror.
Right, you should literally pivot your ass.
I just want to use pivot for everything.
I know,
I'm
me
sorry.
too. I love that word right now. But like, truthfully, if this is bothering you, resonating with you, like, you might want to reconsider your values, I guess. But pieces of shit men who are insecure, men who ain't got it like that, will say shit like that, and they will do that
Yeah.
to a woman.
And-
What do you think?
Why
Go ahead.
didn't she, like, after the first child and after all the episodes? Because
Yeah.
there was obviously adultery and there was cheating
Yes.
during the first.
I
kid.
can answer that question.
So
What's
like,
the question?
why didn't she pivot at that point?
Because she's a hood girl. Like, she knows and loves toxicity. A lot of women, unfortunately, will not leave after the first time. Everyone says they will, but they won't.
And it's this idea of being a rider. Like, I ride for
I
my
ride
man.
for
I
my
don't
man.
give up.
I don't know her family situation with her mom or dad, but I think I read something once that her dad or her grandpa, somebody out there was also.
her
I
grandpa,
feel like
I
she
think.
saw a lot of this. Yeah, her grandpa for
Yeah.
sure saw a lot of this growing up. I don't know to Cardi. I'm just speaking from what I'm seeing. Number two, a lot, and you probably know this. As a family, when there's a family involved, a lot of times
It's harder.
it's way harder. I'm not saying it's impossible, but now being a mom and having a environment for my daughter that I don't ever want to break or lose, I can see how it's so hard to get up and leave and completely shift gears. I have one of my best friends did this. She left, her situation and moved back in with her parents. That to me was such a sign of strength.
That's a power move.
That's a power move because society will look at that as like, oh, but not even society, but you might look at it as like, oh, I'm taking my kid out of what they know. Even their bedtime routine is different now.
Yeah.
everything's different. They're not seeing their mom and dad together. And a lot of women or men, people think staying together is the better option.
Yeah, no.
You know, after infidelity, after whatever, falling out of love, whatever the situation might be, right? After not wanting to be together, a lot of them stay together. I see why. I'm not saying it's ever okay.
No, right.
I
yeah.
can just see
it's
why.
also that fear of change. Because then
fear
you're
of
like,
change.
it doesn't affect me now, right? Especially if you're a
Yes,
mother.
if it's just
it affects
me,
my
you're
kids,
out.
it
I'm
affects
out.
this. Yeah, right? But even then, not for everybody. Even if they don't have kids, it's not easy to say, I'm out. Right? Because
That's true, too.
women, or
Stability
not
is
just
a big
women,
one.
anybody, it's stability. It's this idea of comfort. It's this idea that you may get anxiety with the unknown. Like some women stay, or I keep saying women, but people may stay with this idea of, how do I know I'm going to get something better?
Yep. How do I know something on
How
the other
do I
side?
know there's something on the other side? What if this is it for me versus being alone?
And
right?
a lot of times, again, back to the toxic men, they destroy you in this marriage relationship. These toxic, I'm gonna say it again, toxic, insecure men. So if this applies to you, listen to me. But if it doesn't apply to you, then you can sit down and just watch. Don't get mad at me, because I'm talking to the toxic, insecure men that a lot of times they destroy you so much that you don't feel worthy of shit. And guess what? That's on purpose, so that you don't leave.
Exactly. And because they know you won't leave. Right?
A lot of times they know you won't leave.
Like
That's very true.
And they could get away. They could see what they could get away with because you stick around and you allow it. And I think it's important to talk about, like, what are the signs of that? How do you know you're getting manipulated? How do you know it's not in a good space? I think the minute a person gives you anxiety, and it's ongoing anxiety where you lose sleep and you can't like function, and your head is discombobulated because you're so focused on that other person, what they're doing, what they have control over, that's a red flag, boo-boo.
I 100% agree with that. And I also want to add on to that too. I think realizing you're being manipulated or like you're being gaslit, I think is when you don't even know if your own thoughts are your own thoughts.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
repeat that.
If you're not even sure if your thoughts are your own thoughts at this point because you've been so gaslit and manipulated, that you're like, questioning yourself. Am I crazy? Like, is this even my thoughts? Do I like the color purple? Because I thought I really liked blue, but I guess I like purple now.
Yeah.
And that's
is
real.
Is blue not meant for me? Is purple like what I just need to get used to? Is purple my color?
Weak-minded men, toxic men will absolutely come in and destroy you. And they'll never, you'll never see it coming.
No.
From the beginning.
How does I don't know. It just sounds like, as someone who
Ask all the questions.
I don't think I'm
we
toxic.
know a lot.
Let's go.
I don't think I'm toxic, but like
That's
this
what
just
all
sounds
toxic men say. I'm just
so
kidding.
fucking exhausting. Like, this just sounds.
It is, but if you're really good at being toxic, it's not exhausting because it's second nature for you. It's who you are.
But like you say, these people are like weak-minded. So like, how do they have so much power over you?
They're weak-minded because they're weak-minded.
That's a good question.
No, that's a great question. They're weak-minded individuals,
Yeah.
but they're so good, in my opinion. They're
at the
so
manipulation,
good at manipulating,
at the sweet talking,
and gaslighting,
the promising.
But they also know one more thing too is I feel like they also know their bait, like they know their target.
Yes.
Because some women will not even play that game. They don't even give you a piece of. My mom is one of them. If Mr. Toxic went after my mom, we just talked about this. She is blunt. She is this.
Yeah.
My mom will never. I'm not saying that I'm weak-minded or that I fall into that, but I am easierly. Yeah. I'm more easily manipulated than my mother is.
Yeah.
And I know that. I recognize that.
Yeah, and I think like men, for example, they observe, and I think they know what like your soft spot is. Like they know how to get in and like make you feel secure, make you feel safe. And then it doesn't happen right away, like Paulina said. Like they know how to get to you. Like, oh, she really likes coffee delivered.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could deliver coffee to her. Oh, family's important to her. Let me act like I'm this big like family guy and like show her, and then turn that and manipulate that.
Or what they're good at too is they will test you and see how much they get away with.
Oh, that's 100%.
That's my biggest issue is that I will let people speak to me, not just men, but like, oh, I'm not really dating, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not dating anyone.
Not really?
I have a man, but I'm not
Maybe.
dating men.
Yeah.
But like, even just like people in my life, whatever, is that like, they always say like what you tolerate, right? Is how people treat you, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Pretty much.
100%.
You know what I mean? So like
100%.
what you're okay with as far as like tolerating stuff. So like I am, and I've recognized this at this big age, but I'm so good at like letting people speak to me a certain way until I realize, hey, that's not okay, or
Yeah.
that's not how we're gonna speak to me. And it's really hard to go back. It's not impossible, but it's really hard to go back and kind of flip that and change how you allow people to speak to you, especially if they've done it for so long.
Yeah.
But I think toxic men can do that, and they're so good at that.
And you know
They will
what?
test you.
Like that, it's not even toxic men. It's toxic people. Because I've been in a situation where, like, for years there was somebody that like we were good, and then something would happen, and you know this person just disrespected me multiple times, and I was very forgiving. I was very benefit of the doubt, and you know, maybe
why?
what's going on in this person's life, you know, you don't know. Maybe they're just what is it, reflecting? No, what's the word?
Projecting.
Projecting. They're projecting, right? Clearly something's going on. They're going through it. Until shit hit the fan earlier this year and I pivoted. I was like, I can no longer associate with you and or be your friend or be around you. Like, you're sucking positive energy out and you're blatantly disrespectful and it's disgusting. And honestly, I think I was harsher in my approach, and it was all in a text message because I knew I wanted to do it in person, but I was so angry that it was best I didn't. But I know my approach was really harsh because it was a buildup of years of me allowing this to happen to myself.
Exactly.
I allowed this behavior. And so for them, it was like, what? Why are you reacting like this? Because it was just it was just another situation where they disrespected me, and we had a conversation and I forgave them and we moved on, water under the bridge. And I just hit my breaking point. And I was like, no, I will not. And I think that allowed me to kind of put way more boundaries up with everybody around me. I think that's one of the biggest things that happened to me early this year, that I was like, I'm removing myself of certain spaces with people who, I think the worst kind of people are the ones that know they are wrong. Like, know that the other person is wrong, and they'll tell you, man, they were so wrong, but you're still kikiing, you're still writing for them, but you're telling me they're wrong and you're standing by it. So for me, I look at those other people and I'm like, I don't want to be in your space either. I'm pivoting from you too, because you're also toxic. You're an enabler. You're allowing people to manipulate you, and I see it. And I'm like, no, I'm done. Turn off the robot. I'm done.
Yeah, I think there's like people that are good at, and I say people because it's men or women, but like that they're really good at like manipulation or manipulating a story or a narrative. A narrative is what kills me. And I do think a lot of people who do that fall into like the victim mentality.
Yes.
Of like, I'm a victim.
100%.
And it's like, why are you always if you're always a victim,
please talk about it.
Please check yourself just a little bit and ask yourself, like, okay, am I the victim or the problem? Because if there's a reoccurring theme,
which is with
people,
you and multiple people that you were once close with, like, come on. You know, and I'm not saying this person's a bad person. I just think this person has work to do. Granted, we all have work to do. Like, nobody here is claiming they're better than anybody. I have work to do myself, but I'm self-aware of what those areas are, and I'm pivoting and I'm working on them, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it.
This just sounds fucking exhausting. Like,
it is.
Yeah,
I don't understand
they
how
are.
you guys or anyone else deals with all this. Because, like, for me, when I deal with toxic people, I just kind of cut them out of my life.
I've never been good at that, and I don't know what it is. I think because, like, I'm a strong believer in, like, you try, you don't give up on people. You don't know what they're going through, but you got to put yourself first. Sometimes it's draining.
It's fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, you're right. It's draining.
If this person's being an asshole to you,
but maybe it's like not even like the things they say, but the behaviors of how they make you feel. Maybe they're not intentionally doing it, but like, cut them off. And I'm learning that. Cut them off.
Yeah, but going back to the Cardi thing, like, after the first kid, why did she have two more kids with him?
Yeah.
Some people
that's
are
my thing.
addicted to toxicity in their relationship. We just explained to you.
I understand.
She didn't
So,
want to
like-
leave. She might have been like, okay, I'm going to give him. Some people forgive too. Let's be
Yeah.
real too. Some people, they go through infidelity in their marriage or relationship and they
Yeah.
stay. I don't judge that. That's what you want
Because
to do.
some people
do
truly
it.
do change. They're like, damn, I almost lost my family. I need a change. And some people do.
Okay, I agree with you. It could never be me, but I agree with you.
No, I'm not saying it's me. I'm
No,
playing
I know,
devil's
I know. I'm
advocate.
just
Like,
fucking with you.
Maybe there's an offset
too.
out there that realized he almost lost his family and changes his life
Believe it or
together.
not,
And one of the multiverses, there's an offset.
maybe. Believe it or not, though, a lot of people that we know in our lives, I'm not saying a person, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, you look at your family tree, I'm making this up, people
This
you
is
work
true.
with,
This is true.
yours, mine, like, there's, whether you actually know it or not, too. So
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
there has
Yes.
been infidelity and you just don't know about it. Or you might know about it, but a lot of times you don't. There's been issues.
But the biggest thing is like people don't want to be embarrassed, right? And a lot of these things were in public.
I don't want to be embarrassed.
So like you're a public figure.
Yes.
You're being, you're cheating in public. It's not like you're trying to hide it. I
Yeah.
think some of the things I saw, like he was in the club, literally, like there was video recordings of him fucking women. Like this is public information.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was
I know that.
dancing with
I
them.
thought-
No,
is
there's like
dancing.
videos of everything.
Oh,
And so
people are
like
nasty.
it's publicly out there. Like one thing is, okay, you go through something and you work it out, but it's typically private, right? This is public consumption.
Right,
Your
right,
partner's not
right.
even trying to hide it. Like, shouldn't that already tell you like the type of
Like, save yourself more embarrassment, you're saying?
well, not only that, but the type of like disrespect this person has towards you.
Yeah.
Because like the fact
Yeah.
of like, okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
Shame on me.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so like I understand you want
Fair,
to work it
man.
out for the kids and everything else. But maybe it might be her upbringing, right? It might be she's addicted to toxicity.
Well,
like
yeah,
you said.
I'm
Yeah.
not like defending her in that regard, but
No,
she
but-
probably saw some shit.
Yeah.
It's just I think her upbringing. I guarantee you, she probably saw some shit. She probably didn't have the healthiest relationship, maybe with her high school boyfriends, whatever, adult relationships. I don't
is
know,
true.
but
Maybe.
I from Love and Hip Hop and what I seen, they weren't great. So I'm sure that that's just like innated in her. Like one thing that I think Cardi should do is go to therapy and work through this.
Yeah.
She's a mother. I think
Don't ignore it.
don't ignore it.
Don't
because-
distract yourself.
and she's good at distracting herself. We all are, but
She
she's
is.
really good at it.
She's doing that right now.
Yeah, she's being hot in Paris and
Yes.
shaking her ass to music, which is a great distraction for 5 minutes, but it's not sustainable. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I
no.
mean? And I think she really should work through her issues, whatever they are, because we all got issues, and she's got to work through them so that, whatever she does next, it's not like this big blow up mess. Whatever she chooses, whether she is going to date somebody else, whether she gets back with Offset, whether it's she fucking is celibate rest of her life. It's not going to happen. But if it is, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think she should really work through her issues and she should work on herself. That's what I think.
I think that applies on all levels of pivots. I think when you're
Facts.
faced with a challenge or you're faced with a change, I think you need to take granted, you don't always have a lot of time, the liberty of time, but you really need to move with intention, with self-reflection, and not distractions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pivoting, well, then I need to be all in what it is I need to do moving forward in order for success to come, in order for abundance to come, in order for this to feel like it was actually planned for the best and it's for the better.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. I think that's something I'm trying to embrace right now in my pivot,
I think your lifestyle
my
choice.
pivoting. What'd you say?
And your lifestyle choice.
I'm pivoting my lifestyle choices.
I
you
love
go.
it. I love it. Do you want to have a closeout statement first?
Yeah, you're closing it with your chest.
Close
Closing
it with your chest.
Close it.
closing
with
with
your
my
chest.
chest. Don't let toxic people bring you down.
Oh,
Yeah, you were about to beat our asses.
I know.
No,
you
it's
were.
just like it's so stupid. No offense.
No, you're right.
No,
offense to
don't call me
anyone.
stupid. It's
So
fine.
right.
It's so stupid. The topic of like this person is toxic towards me, and I just want to keep them in my life.
You're
Like,
right.
why the fuck do you want them in your life?
You're right. It's
Like-
it's hard.
Like, I understand. It's just to me, I'm very different. Like, I'm well aware that like I'm a crazy, unemotional, too logical person. But like, if it doesn't make sense for you, why do you have them?
So you've never you've never kept somebody in your life more than they should have been.
No.
I don't believe that for a
Wow.
second.
You can ask. Call my
Really?
wife.
I don't
My
believe
battery's
that.
about to die.
So
'cause
the
I'm on a Zoom.
minute they showed their ass,
I don't talk to them.
you kicked it out the door.
Don't even recognize them. The only people that
Wow.
I have to do that with is a certain group of people because I have to. Because
Why?
of
What's
other,
have to?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, okay.
But I have to.
What are you guys into?
But anyone else who's not
Socialite.
socialite, yeah.
The socialites.
Any of those other people who are
Yeah.
not in that group of 3,
Okay.
I have to.
there's a group
I kick out. Like there's no.
Got it. Okay.
There's no for me. Like one, it's so draining. Like
It's the most draining thing
it
I've ever done.
sounds
It
like
is.
so
It's
fucking
so draining.
like you
Mentally, emotionally.
Literally,
it's
call
draining.
Lucy right now. I don't think I've ever been. You can call her right now. I don't think I've ever been toxic in our relationship because I don't even have the capacity
That's
to
beautiful.
feel like
That's great.
like to be toxic.
You're saying in your relationship with your wife.
Yeah, like I don't even think.
Well,
like,
I don't think you're a fuckboy. So,
and I
or
also
like,
don't think
you
like
know.
she's been toxic.
Well, you guys
I
aren't
don't see
toxic
that.
To me,
people, which
exactly.
In general, I don't think
And
they're
so, like,
toxic
No.
people,
And then when you bring someone toxic to me, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Sit there and eat their toxicity? No, get the fuck out of my face.
I want to say something, but I'll say it off the air. Okay, I get
So-
you.
I'm gonna wrap it in a tortilla and eat that toxicity. Yum, 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 yum.
What the fuck was that?
Toxic tacos with Tati.
Toxic tacos.
No,
Toxic
I'm
love.
pivoting. I cannot
Yeah.
entertain toxic people, and it's not because
No.
they're bad people, but they make me feel not good.
Certain toxic people, not all of them, but certain ones know sometimes, like you mentioned, your sweet spots. They know where to
do?
get you, and
Yeah.
then you're like, not even sweet spots, because I'm not like you're not gonna bring me like a fucking churro,
Now-
and I'm happy.
Am I manipulative? Yeah, I can manipulate.
Nah, that's toxic. Though.
But-
Guys, if you
but-
guys could see his face, the way he said it, that was toxic.
But that's like, to get my business interest of what I'm trying to get done.
Okay, you're a businessman.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're
I'm
toxic.
a business.
I'm not toxic.
man.
Well, whatever.
You're a
Maybe
toxic man.
I'm the most toxic person in the world.
I'm
How about
just
that?
kidding. No, I don't know. We're not toxic,
If
but
I
that's
am,
funny.
be better
I just
with
don't believe you would cut off a toxic person right away.
Right away.
Say
That's
it on air.
hard.
I don't believe
Say it
that.
on there. You got
I
someone,
think it would be
you
like
got
anybody.
someone in my name? You got someone in mind?
Maybe, but
Put it,
they're
put
not.
it on the air.
No, I can't. they're your people. I
I'll
can't.
cut it off right now.
I'll tell you off the air.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that person I was never close with. I was close with the
Okay.
person who they're there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about too.
Exactly.
Pick me.
So like, that's what it is. But yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, no, but also as a couple, it's harder sometimes because if
And like
if your partner is still with this person, like
that's hard.
but like
communicating
for that,
with them.
like for example, if you're a couple, exactly that, right? Like if you're in a couple and someone's being toxic to your partner, right? Oh. My biggest thing is if you want to continue that relationship, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
If you don't want to continue with that relationship, that's super cool with me. My wife is cool with people that I deem that are toxic and I don't talk to, who are
Yeah.
more close to me than they are to her.
okay,
But she is closer to them now than I am. I have no idea what these people do. I have no idea of their daily life. I don't know where they live, how many kids they have.
but you
nothing.
don't like them because they're toxic.
In my opinion, yeah. Or they have done me wrong. They have crossed me. They have.
But then why would your wife still be friends with them?
Because it's her choice if she wants to have that relationship with those people.
But okay,
You can call her and ask her. How about that?
I'll
You
ask
really
her
want
on
us
my
to
next
call her
one.
on air? Oh my God, he
know.
kept saying
We'll
it.
bring her in even better.
Yeah, we're
Because
gonna
y'all
bring
don't
Lucy in.
fucking believe me.
It's
I'm telling
time
you.
for
No,
Lucy
I
to come
believe
in.
you, but I'm just like confused now.
You're-
Now my
It's
head is already
hard
circling.
because
It's
it is hard. I think Paulina and I
You're comparing
have
me.
been. I don't want to say.
You're comparing me with normal men. I am
Do
extraordinary.
not compare me.
Okay.
Yes.
Pivot.
I'm pivoting my ass
to
out
the
of here.
Exit.
Yeah.
Take us out, Paulina.
I'm getting
Pivot.
my ass out of here. Pivot out of here.
Pivot out.
Follow us on social at Paulina Rowe
At Talk with Tati.
and at Never Too Shy Pod, and watch us, love us, and share us.
Pivot to the last episode.
Yes,
I
pivot your
don't
ass
even know
back.
if this is make it. Pivot your ass back to other episodes, and then pivot yourself forward to watch the next one, and like and subscribe, and shout us out.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Mwah.